Good, happy Friday morning, February 14, 2020. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Friday morning, so let's begin. First up, New Hampshire health officials clarify confusion over coronavirus strains. Granite staters diagnosed with HKU1 strain spreading globally called COVID-19. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Mike Cherry.
The New Hampshire Community Loan Fund is tackling some of the Granite State's most urgent needs, like affordable housing for our state's working families, seniors, and young people. Your donation to the Capital Impact Challenge can have a profound impact. Give today.
Suffering from shortness of breath, Kayla Conley was hospitalized with a respiratory infection last week. Doctors told Conley's sister that Kayla was infected with coronavirus.
I didn't really know what it was. The only thing I thought of was China, because I knew that they were having the coronavirus issue.
Cases similar to Conley's have flooded public health offices in New Hampshire. However, Conley's family soon learned she was not infected with the same type of coronavirus that's made headlines across the globe.
There are four that we know commonly circulate in populations and are estimated to cause upwards of about 25% of all common colds in adults worldwide.
Dr. Benjamin Chan of the Department of Health and Human Services says most coronavirus types affect animals, but there are three relatively new coronavirus types that have emerged, including SARS, MERS, and the current one, which has been renamed COVID-19.
I think we're still learning how easily this virus is spread and the full types of sicknesses and illnesses that people can present with.
99% of diagnosed cases are in China. Just 15 cases of the COVID-19 types were found in the U.S., none in New Hampshire.
We've tested 3 individuals in New Hampshire for this new coronavirus. All 3 have been negative. There's nobody currently undergoing, active testing for this new virus. So we believe the risk of transmission in New Hampshire currently is low.
As for Kayla, her family says she is on the road to recovery.
She's awake now, and she had to be sedated, but she seems to be slowly improving, but she still is in ICU at this point.
And state health officials are urging people to avoid travel to China. They say the best way to avoid respiratory virus infections are to practice good health habits like washing your hands.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Running blade donated to boy through New Hampshire's Foundation. Noel Lambert's foundation gift running prosthetics. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Gene Mackin.
The New Hampshire Community Loan Fund is tackling some of our state's most urgent needs, like increasing access to local food by supporting farmers, fishers, and food businesses statewide. Your donation to the Capital Impact Challenge can have a profound impact. Give today.
He's the Eagles. Everybody go get him.
From across the court, it's tough to tell who stands out on this team. And that's exactly the point. 9-year-old Ryan Feeney is sporting his brand new running blade at basketball practice in Melrose, Massachusetts. A donation from the Born to Run Foundation started by New Hampshire's Noel Lambert.
I think it was really nice of her to donate this leg to me, and I can't wait till I can play and be really fast with it.
Ryan was born with NF1. His leg was amputated before the age of 2. The Division I athlete lost her leg in a moped crash on Martha's Vineyard in 2016. Noel now helps others get back in the game with life-changing prosthetic donations. So Ryan can set aside his walking leg for a lightweight blade.
We didn't know how to afford one because insurance doesn't cover it until they're a little older. And, Noelle and her foundation has really been amazing.
Seeing Ryan today running with all of his friends and teammates and being able to play basketball like he doesn't even have an amputation, like he has 2 legs. I mean, that's what's most important in life.
Noelle also gives the gift of inspiration. She's a member of the U.S. Paralympic team training in track and field for the 2020 Tokyo Games. And she's sharing what it takes to be a champion.
It'll just give him reassurance that he's going to be able to do whatever he wants with his life.
Jean Mackin, WMUR, News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Noah's vent venue shut down, leaves engaged couples scrambling. China chain vent venue filed for bankruptcy last year. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Suzanne Rowntree.
At Beltates, customers will find everything they need for a building project. The brand names you trust to perform. And with a fleet of over 50 delivery vehicles, we deliver when and where our customers need them. Beltates Building Products. 9 locations throughout New Hampshire and Massachusetts.
At the beginning of January, Noah's, a wedding venue here in Bedford, said that it would be closing, leaving couples scrambling for a place to hold their wedding. Just this last week, the nationwide chain announced that it would be closing all of its locations in more than 24 states. Megan Breton and David Shaler got engaged in September of 2018. They plan to celebrate their marriage with 250 guests this coming August at Noah's event venue in Bedford.
Food, ceremony, everything, all in one spot. We didn't have to leave. So that was big for that many people.
They booked catering, flowers, and a photographer. The couple started to worry when the nationwide chain filed for bankruptcy this last year, but says they were told the Bedford location would not be affected.
They sent us an email saying, not to worry, it's just a Chapter 11, it's not Chapter 7. Your wedding is still going to happen.
And again, they were asked to book the bartender nearly a year in advance.
They kept saying, do you want to book this now? Do you want to book this now? They were wanting payments immediately when they weren't even getting married until August of this year.
Then on January 2nd, David got the email saying Noah was shutting down the Bedford location.
And I made a lot of phone calls first. So I had at least a start of an answer with new venues, new locations and stuff.
So good.
While many couples aren't sure if they'll get their deposits back, David paid with his credit card.
And the second I called them to tell them about the issue, I think within 10 days the full amount was back on my card. Okay. And they're going to go after them with their lawyers now.
We did reach out to Noah Management for a response. We have yet to hear back from them. In Bedford, Suzanne Rowntree, WMUR, News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Windham man accused of attacking Trump supporter outside polling location. Man accused of slapping 15-year-old across face, police say. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Mike Cronin.
The New Hampshire Community Loan Fund is tackling some of our state's most urgent needs, like increasing access to local food by supporting farmers, fishers, and food businesses statewide. Your donation to the Capital Impact Challenge can have a profound impact. Give today.
34-year-old Patrick Bradley is facing several charges tonight, accused of attacking Trump supporters outside of a polling location including a 15-year-old boy.
It is unfortunate, and we're taking precautionary measures to ensure that there are police details on site to try to prevent these things from happening.
On primary voting night, police say Bradley had just voted at Wyndham High School and was walking by a Trump campaign tent. He allegedly slapped a teen in his face, then allegedly assaulted two adults who tried to intervene. Police also say Bradley threw Trump campaign signs and tried to knock over the tent.
Shameful, disgusting, and should be unacceptable.
Former Trump campaign manager Corey Lewandowski was at the same polling location earlier that day. He says the boy said, "Have a good night" to Bradley right before the incident.
He was off. He got called to volunteer. He went up and he wore his Make America Great Again hat, stood outside the polling location in the early evening, and that's when he was attacked.
The president's son, Donald Trump Jr., says he also met the victim that day and tweeted he was attacked by a sick leftist. Trump says he later talked to him and his mother, thanking them and saying his family has their back.
It's very unfortunate. Hopefully we can avoid things like this happening in the future. We'll see. We'll do our best.
Tonight, Bradley is charged with simple assault and disorderly conduct. He's being held tonight on $5,000 cash bail and is expected to face a judge tomorrow. Reporting live in Wyndham, Mike Cronin, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Investigators of Henniker shooting focus on party attendees from out of state. 3 injured in shooting near New England College. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Andy Hirschberger.
The New Hampshire Community Loan Fund is working to solve some of our state's most pressing challenges, like helping small businesses grow and create good jobs. Your donation to the Capital Impact Challenge can have a profound impact. Give today.
Authorities say they are still looking for whomever's responsible for firing shots at a crowded party in downtown Henniker early Sunday morning.
At about 3 o'clock a.m., a verbal encounter occurred between some of the attendees. Close in time to that, a firearm was shown and later discharged 2 times.
The shooting happened inside an apartment on Bridge Street, which is just across the river from New England College. Authorities say there were about 60 people at the party, a mix of students and non-students. 3 people were injured by gunfire. They were all treated at a local hospital and released that morning.
At this time, we do not believe that any of the victims were targeted, and we think that this was an isolated incident. Therefore, we can say that there is no immediate risk to the community or the student body.
Authorities say the shooter or shooters are either from out of town or out of state.
Well, I think when it happened, a lot of people were shocked because we think, it's Henniker, New Hampshire. Not much happens up here. But I think after it did happen, when we first heard about it, we collected our thoughts and we all came together as a community.
Obviously, it's something that's very sad that happened to our community, but at the same time, it was an off-campus event, kind of.
The college is still offering support services for students who may need them. If anyone has information about what happened, they are being asked to call the New Hampshire State Police. Reporting live, I'm Andy Hirschberger, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Raymond woman pleads guilty to 4th recent DWI charge. Alleged crimes happened so close to one another that each counted as first offense, prosecutors say. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Kristen Carosa.
The New Hampshire Community Loan Fund is tackling some of our state's most urgent needs, like increasing access to local food by supporting farmers, fishers, and food businesses statewide. Your donation to the Capital Impact Challenge can have a profound impact. Give today.
Marie Collins appeared in court Thursday to face her fourth DWI charge, only receiving a fine from the judge.
She's accepted responsibility for every single offense.
Prosecutors say Collins drove drunk 5 times within a few months. Each time she was caught, Collins had a clean record because her prior offenses hadn't gone through the court system yet. That meant lower penalties.
By operation of the law, you can't be charged with a second unless you're convicted with a first.
Collins received fines for her first 2 offenses and was released, but a short time later she was sentenced to 33 days in jail for violating bail conditions for one of her first offenses. Collins got another 5 days for her third DWI charge.
It was important to me that she serve a separate penalty for breaching the terms of her bail and have a penalty for the DUI.
Collins will be released on Sunday. Prosecutors say she will be certified as a habitual offender and her license will be taken away for several years. But her family says that may not stop her from getting behind the wheel.
She had the first 2 or 3 DUIs, went to Florida for 2 months for rehab, came back and reoffended in Danbury on an aggravated DUI again.
Collins' mother-in-law says more needs to be done to keep the roads safe.
She's proved that the process is not working for her yet. I hope that it does, but it isn't yet.
Collins will be in court to address her 5th charge in March. Live in the newsroom, Kristen Carosa, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. U.S. futures point to a slightly higher open. U.S. stock index futures were slightly higher Friday morning as investors closely monitor the potential economic fallout from China's fast-spreading coronavirus. Trump and Bloomberg battle on Twitter. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
Race for 2020, and tonight President Trump and Mike Bloomberg trading insults, a sign of what's to come in this campaign. It's still going on tonight. Bloomberg saying he will spend whatever it takes to defeat the president. Here's ABC's Terry Moran tonight.
The battle of the New York billionaires is on.
You should know that the president attacked me again this morning on Twitter. Why? Because he sees our poll numbers and he's scared.
President Trump ripping into former New York City Mayor Mike Bloomberg today, tweeting, "Mini Mike Bloomberg is a loser who has money but can't debate and has zero presence." Bloomberg then taunting Trump, tweeting, "We know many of the same people in New York. Behind your back, they laugh at you and call you a carnival-barking clown."
I'm not afraid of Donald Trump, and he knows it. And that's why he keeps tweeting about me.
Later, Trump, who has repeatedly tried to stir chaos in the Democratic race, going after a real vulnerability for Bloomberg, his stop-and-frisk policies as mayor. At its peak, more than 500,000 people a year, most of them African Americans and Latinos, were stopped and frisked by police. 88% of the time, police found no reason to arrest them. A judge called it unconstitutional. Others called it racist. So Trump, on Geraldo Rivera's radio program today,
Bloomberg came in and he said, well, you know what? This thing is so good, I'm going to stop every black person. And if you were a black person in New York, you were stopped 2 times a day, 3 times a day. You couldn't go to your house. They were stopping you every day.
That's not true by a long shot. And Trump himself has long promoted stop and frisk as a success.
But stop and frisk had a tremendous impact on the safety of New York City, tremendous beyond belief.
So let's get to Terry Moran with us live at the White House tonight. And Terry, former Mayor Bloomberg declaring that he's going to spend whatever it takes to try to defeat President Trump.
That's right, David. He's already spent $380 million. That's of his own money. We've never seen anything like it, a staggering sum. Now, President Trump has his own war chest, but the most important numbers for him are those economic numbers. Most Americans are telling pollsters they feel better off today than they did in 2016. And for an incumbent president, history shows that's wind in the sails. David?
Terry Moran tonight. Terry, thank you.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for this morning edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you back here later on today for another newscast. And I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Goodbye, everyone.